Hi, and welcome to episode 33 of the Tech Review. Every 2 weeks we gather to discuss the hottest topic in science, technology, and innovation. On camera 4 today we have Vincent, on camera 3 we have Chris, on camera 2 we have Henrike, and on camera 1, this is me, hi, I'm Tarek. And of course, if you like what you see here, you can visit us at ideasengineering.io, freetech.academy, or upday.com, which we now also have here on our social media stream. Yes. And now let's jump into the news because we have a lot of topics to cover. And since we are delayed this week, on Tuesday we could not stream because of some technical difficulties, because I'm not in my regular streaming location. We have to cover this today on this Friday. So greetings to the USA, Germany, and Peru, where all of our watchers and listeners are sitting. Okay, where is it? There we go. Let's start with Vincent.
Absolutely. Which one is it? Spotify brings audiobooks to the US. Yes,
Yes.
that's the better one of my two articles. Nice that we start with that one. Yeah, so Spotify brings audiobooks to the US, and personally, to me, this is goodbye to Audible, because as far as I understand, Spotify's model is much more interesting, at least for me personally, because it is different to Audible. So what Spotify does is that they bring audiobooks to the platform, now to the US, and then later they're going to bring it also to other countries. We do have audiobooks on there as part of our regular subscription, but what Spotify now does is they're rehauling the whole project and relaunching the audiobooks sector. It's going to be a dedicated tab, just like podcasts and music. And the interesting thing, and that is what really separates them from Audible, is that they have different prices for different audiobooks. So we can see that some of them will be more expensive, some of them will be more cheap. Cheap's not the right word. More price sensitive. I don't know how to say that. Anyways, the price will be lower than what we would pay at other platforms. And that is what makes it so interesting. Spotify has interesting history with monetization, right? I mean, they are sticking to the same price for quite some time now, but they launched the creator program, which actually took off quite well, surprisingly, in my opinion. And now they have this. And I'm really interested to see how this is going. Right now, it is with 300,000 audiobooks, which obviously is not the majority. There are many more. But yeah, it's a start, and I'm really keen on seeing this in Germany and in Europe to see how the prices translate. Really cool, just to see.
Yeah.
So, but how about if you're Spotify Premium already, then still you have to pay for the audiobooks separately? Okay.
As far as I understand, there are audiobooks that will be just free to the platform, free / when you're a premium subscriber. And you can listen to that, period. But most of them will be in a kind of freemium model. So you will be able to listen into the audiobook much longer than you are on Audible. The whole idea of this rehaul is to bring more usability and more consumer friendliness into the process. So you'll be able to hear a big portion of what the audiobook is and how it works and everything. Or how it's designed. I don't know how the right language is there, but the right wording. But you will be able to have a good view into the audiobook before purchasing it. And the same rule applies. Please correct me if I'm wrong. If you listen to this and you read the article. But as far as I understand, you'll be owning the audiobook as well, just like on Audible.
I can completely understand why they're going this way. So far, Amazon has this, let's say, smart move of having the complete user login where I listen to my Audible audiobooks and I listen to Amazon Music and everything is in one package. But I could imagine that Spotify wants to achieve this as well. So I have my Spotify subscription and I have my audiobooks on Spotify and everything.
I think that Spotify is just they really look at what they did with podcasting, right? And they saw how, or they are coming from this perspective. Listen, there was Apple Podcast, and everybody was listening to podcasts and Apple Podcast. And then there was YouTube kind of as like a second platform. And then Spotify came and overtook this market completely, with Apple Podcasts actually not growing anymore now, to Spotify booming in the podcast segment. And when we look at the creator program they launched a year back now, roundabout, maybe less, maybe 10 months, something like that. This was specifically for creators in the podcast segment. So this is what they did just yet. And they're like, okay, well, no, let's step up the game. Let's do the same for audiobooks, because audiobooks we know is a big market, but there are not that many players right now forming like this monopolistic position that maybe Netflix / now maybe even Disney has. I don't know, but specifically Spotify has in the music market.
Yeah. I really looking forward to this, because I am one of these victims who actually searching for a service where I can, with good consciences, let myself log in. For example, with Alexa, I have like this Alexa device at home, and it's really a pain to configure it to play music from Spotify, but my web radio from TuneIn, but then again, like my audiobook from Audible, everything, and then I have to configure it for every single purpose, like a different app, while it would be probably easier to just have everything out of one hand. And I could imagine that this is the big goal, that people feel that comfortable that they can hear their audiobooks and their podcasts and their web radio and everything from one and the same source.
Sure.
Okay. Oh, wait.
And now, this.
And it's purple.
No HSV any longer.
Nope.
I was just about to say that, yeah. And also no other football club.
I never understood what you mean, because I do not watch football, so I have no idea what this is.
But have you checked out then afterwards how the HSV flag looks like, or logo?
To be honest,
not even.
It's completely beyond me. I have no interest at all in local soccer. I mean, to be honest, I'm looking forward to the World Cup in Qatar, even though it's very controversial and we are all supposed to boycott it. But it will be very different to the usual World Cup that we have, and this time having it in wintertime. I'm very curious to see how it's going to look.
Interesting. I mean, because I think a lot of regular football fans there, as you said, kind of are into boycotting it. But now non-football fans are actually going to turn in and watch it. So,
yeah, kind of.
For the FIFA, it will turn out just perfectly then.
Yeah. So,
we have this random 60% audience. It's new. Nobody knows where it comes from. What do we do with them? And
it behaves strangely.
Yeah, but local football clubs are completely out of my interest range. I have no interest in watching like a private soccer club playing and competing with each other, because this is, I don't know. I like this international challenge, this international competition of actually seeing like the best players from one nation competing against the others. It's like Olympics, right?
Fair enough. I mean, don't check out the HSV logo because it looks exactly like the transition we had before.
Damn
so
it.
you actually know it.
You're forcing me to watch it, to look at it. Okay, next article comes from me, and it is one of my favorite topics, but this is something that actually happened, I think, already last week. September 15th. And it is the big merge. This is the big event that we were all waiting for, at least we all in the crypto scene. And it's the switch from Ethereum from proof of work to proof of stake. And this is like revolutionary in terms of blockchain technologies, because the two biggest blockchains that we know and that we are working with, which is Bitcoin and Ethereum, until this event, both were working with proof of work, which means that they were they were consuming a lot of energy, a lot of electrical energy. And since these blockchains were still growing, because it was very, very profitable to invest in it and to work with it and to mine it, it was ever-growing, energy-consuming monstrosity. Yeah, and it's uncontrollable because we can't just shut it down. It's a decentralized network. And especially now with NFTs, we have a lot of dependencies to the Ethereum blockchain. And the more NFTs are mined and smart contracts are mined on the Ethereum blockchain, energy consumption was rising. And this was one of the biggest arguments against using Ethereum as a blockchain technology. And now with proof of stake, the energy consumption, the energy requirement was reduced by 99.9%. And this is really, really credible. And this opens up the doors for all this talk about Web3 and decentralization and actually using smart contracts and actually using NFTs the way they were supposed to be without this bad conscience of burning these vast amounts of energy. And so I hope, and this is my personal hope, that Bitcoin will either follow this path and also reduce and also switch their consensus mechanism, the proof of work mechanism to proof of stake, so that we can also reduce and get rid of this energy consumption of Bitcoin. Or let's just let it die. We have so many altcoins which could take over the role of Bitcoin, but now Bitcoin is the single blockchain that is still burning this amount of energy. And I'm really looking forward to see also what on the financial market is going to happen now that Ethereum is, from technological and ecological point of view, the really, really good choice for usage. And if this means that Ethereum prices will rise. Right now, everything is like down. The whole financial market is down. So Bitcoin and Ethereum are on very, very low levels. And we do not see any impact yet from this technological change. But I could imagine that as soon as the financial markets will regain power, that Ethereum might grow faster than the other blockchain technologies. And maybe even kill Bitcoin. I don't know. I could imagine that people who are really into this crypto market would laugh at me for this kind of assumption, because to be honest, I have no idea about financial markets. But in terms of technology and in terms of being future-proof, this is a really big step for Ethereum. And I could really imagine that Ethereum will become more relevant than it actually was before. Yeah. So I
have a stupid question.
Yes, please.
About this. I do understand the concept of proof of work and proof of stake. However, what I don't understand is, and maybe this is really dumb and shows that I maybe don't understand those concepts completely. But how is it that cryptocurrency needs to transition from proof of work to proof of stake? Why can't we proof of stake something right away, since it's a digital currency? Is this a valid question? I don't know.
Yes. I mean, you have to understand that this is a decentralized system, and the big quality of this decentralized system is that it is decentralized. So it's not like one central server where someone could do some changes because he owns the server. If you have a bank account at one certain bank, in theory, someone could go in there into the database and change your account. I mean, this will not happen because the bank has a lot of security, but you have to trust the bank. The bank owns your bank account. And the great thing about blockchains and why cryptocurrency is this alternative for banking is that it is decentralized, so nobody can make modifications. Only with this consensus mechanism where your verified transaction is independently verified by 50% or more of all nodes, only then this transaction becomes reality in the blockchain. And the same happens with the mechanism that makes the blockchain tick. Nobody owns the blockchain and nobody owns the implementation. So if you say, yeah, let's just switch it, you can't, because only this general consensus needs to happen and can change the mechanism within the blockchain. And that's why if, for example, all the stakeholders in Bitcoin, they do not want this change to happen because they make money by physically mining in their mining rigs with proof of work, and they bought like thousands of computers to do this stuff. If they vote against changes like this, the blockchain can't change. You might be able to make a fork, like creating a sister blockchain that works similarly, but you can't change anything in the blockchain if it's not approved by the majority of the nodes. That's exactly the point.
Okay, I do understand how the blockchain and the system behind it works. But so just as a recap, this means that technically we could do a technologically very similar protocol-wise cryptocurrency that from the beginning on could be proof of stake.
Yes.
Because we could write into the blockchain there are 1 billion Tarek coins, and that's it. You can't mine any more of these. And that we could mine Bitcoin in the past was just because we had big mining conglomerates voting against it because this was their business model.
Sure. I mean,
okay.
I don't think that any modern coin that is created today or in the past years was actually using proof of work, because we found out very early that this is not a really good working and scalable approach. But Bitcoin is like the OG blockchain, the thing that was created as showcase of how a decentralized currency could work. And on paper and on a handful of computers, it's great. But if you roll it out like worldwide and you have millions or hundreds of thousands of computers doing this, then it's the amount of energy that we are burning without necessity is just increasing. So today we have better architectures and better mechanisms. I don't think that anyone would invest today in a new blockchain that is built on top of proof of work. This is, like old school.
I wasn't aware that most of the blockchains are not proof of work, but proof of stake. I was under the impression that most of them are just there and you could mine them, but nobody just did not bother because you had like the big blockchains you were able to mine. So, okay, that makes a lot more sense now.
But do you really think it will push away Bitcoin? I mean, Bitcoin is really, really very, very established, right? And we see that very often, that sometimes we have the impression that this coin or that coin might be the better one technologically wise, but nonetheless, it does not lead in the investment market to the situation that suddenly this better coin is going upwards and Bitcoin is losing or something. In the end, the market more or less always follows Bitcoin. That's my impression. And well, I would say that with this new development in Ethereum, probably it will rise more than it will. In the end, it will have a better value than it had before. But I couldn't imagine that it really will take away Bitcoin's pole position in the whole market, to be honest.
Yeah, you're probably right. People are stupid. And even though it does not make sense and it is a bad technology, people like trading Bitcoin and they value Bitcoin very high and they want to have Bitcoin because Bitcoin is Bitcoin. And so I probably agree with you that even though it is still the worst blockchain that we have in the larger scale, people will continue trading with it because they are still expecting it to be the most valuable. And so what the financial people are doing and what the engineers are doing, it does not really always match. And so you're probably right. People will continue trading with Bitcoin for a long time, even though it's a very, very bad technology.
Yeah, and in the end, I mean, the whole crypto thing is also like a gaming market, right? So in the end, most of the people who deal with all these coins do not really understand or are even interested in the technology behind that.
Right.
For them, it's just a game. And Bitcoin, as you say, Bitcoin is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is established. Bitcoin has a name. Bitcoin is well known, and all the others are just names.
Yeah.
And so sometimes they put their money on that one, on this one, but not because of technological reasons, but just because the course is either going up or down, and they just place their bets, so to say.
Yeah, and also the environmental impact. It's enormous, and everyone agrees that we have to save the environment. But if you are then forced to lose millions of revenue because you are a professional Bitcoin miner, then suddenly it's not worth it, right? And if you really have to invest a lot of your personal fortune to save the environment, then it becomes less attractive. Okay.
And now, this.
And now, Henrike.
Alrighty. So I just have one article, so that will be a quick one, I guess. It's about YouTube and its monetization strategy for YouTube Shorts. They say in the article that Shorts will become part of the partner program of YouTube. Those content creators who qualify will get a share of the ad money generated with Shorts, and those who do not qualify, for them it should be easier to make money through subscriptions, merch sales, and other stuff. In a nutshell, it says there will be more and better options to make money compared to TikTok. How did Shorts monetize until now? Through creator funds, shopping, etc., which was similar to Instagram and TikTok. And usually YouTube gets 45% and creators 55%, and they will switch it with Shorts. Why? To be able to pay for the music that is used in Shorts, so that you as a content creator are able to use everything without worrying about the rights. But what is also said that a lot of the details in order to make this work are not figured out yet. The rough plan is you open Shorts, you watch maybe 6 videos, see 2 ads, and then you leave the app. And then the revenue will be split among these 6 videos. But what if it's a duet? What if it's a remix of another video? What if you watch a full video in between and then a Shorts again? All these things haven't been figured out yet and are still like in discussions. Also, there's another issue that it's been quoted there. Views for Shorts is as important as watch time for long videos, but what actually counts as a view? Because then they also said we do not count it right away when it shows up. So what then is a view? Like how many seconds have to pass, so to say? Also, this means in the end that Shorts will likely be less beneficial for the most popular channels, who will now have to share revenues with everything else in the feed. And that actually seems to be the goal described at the end of the article, because in the end it helps to get more creators on the platform through it. Although the established ones kind of have to, what's the right say there? I mean, they probably won't be as happy with it as the new ones. So that's basically it. It does not really have like a big question, because it will be interesting to figure out if this strategy then turns out to be successful. But maybe Tarek, as our content creator on YouTube, already has an opinion on that, how this maybe can also be beneficial for you. Because although I really like your content, I'm not sure if you count already as how did they describe it at the beginning, like those who qualify already.
Yeah. So it's actually a big topic for me, and I'm watching it very, very closely, because I am creating content on YouTube and TikTok, and so far it was not really rewarding to post Shorts on YouTube, because it was, at least in the past, disconnected from your main YouTube channel. So you either create you either create YouTube Shorts or long-term content, and it did not really benefit from each other. A couple of weeks ago, they had this first major change where they like connected the algorithm for the shorts and the long-term videos, so that viewers who like your short-term content were actually able to find and subscribe your long-term content, because it will then be shown on like your recommendations feed. And now that they are also attacking the monetization area, I believe that TikTok now is actually under the threat that content creators will start preferring creating their content for YouTube, or at least not hold back and post everything that they have in short-term content on TikTok also on YouTube, because now it can be a viable part of your content strategy. And you can use, and now basically YouTube has this ecosystem complete, where you have your live streams and your short-term content and your content on demand, and everything benefits your whole channel. You can gain more money, you can gain more followers and everything. And so it is very, very valuable to create content, or more valuable now on YouTube. And of course, TikTok is not going to die, but the platforms, they are competing for the creative content creators, right? And so far, TikTok was the king because they had everything. They had this attractive algorithm, the huge amount of followers, and this, at least with their sponsorships and their creator fund, some way of quickly monetize your videos, which YouTube absolutely did not have. And that's why I believe that this might be one of the most important strikes against TikTok from YouTube side. But I believe that Vincent also has an opinion on that.
I agree, Tag. I agree with you completely on this. I think that's every user knows this. When you go through TikTok and you look up an account that looks kind of professional, so somebody who looks like putting in a lot of work there, you can see that those always link out to Instagram. They always link out to YouTube, because this is the way they monetize, right? They go to Instagram to build up a following, to either then channel to YouTube, or to, do something else on Instagram. And they go to YouTube so they can, on YouTube, then after some time apply for the creator monetization program, or the partner program, and then monetize via their videos. Now, the danger is that once you exit TikTok because you want to follow a creator on one of their other platforms, you won't come back, because now Tyg is right. It doesn't make a lot of sense to create YouTube first. YouTube has much more capabilities. It's much more it's much more mature as a platform. Not saying that the algorithm of Shorts is better. I think that Google/YouTube, they still don't understand Shorts completely themselves. I think they still need time. When you use Shorts, you see that it's just not as round as TikTok is. But still, YouTube is much more advanced in terms of how do you monetize, how to understand what a user really needs, like how does the platform in front of works. And I mean, remember a few months ago, I brought any article, I don't know what it was, but that TikTok is gaining market share against entertainment platforms such as YouTube, and not social platforms such as Instagram and Facebook and Snap. And this all comes down to, okay, who is the big player in the entertainment industry? And up until now was YouTube. And with that step, YouTube once again put some distance between them and TikTok, because now you have all the great features and more, because Tarek, you mentioned the creator fund in TikTok, but we all know that this is much more a gesture than it's actually true. When creators, like big creators, make a few $100 with millions and millions of views.
Yeah.
I think it's really I think the approach is totally right, and I'm really curious to see how they will fix the issues that were mentioned, like all these edge cases. I mean, and if they figure out that, so that in the end there's like a transparent solution to what happens if, it's a duet or it's a remix or whatever, there's a long video in between. If they have a solution for all of that, and it's clear to everybody how you get the money and what's your share on that, kind of, it's the holy grail right. To all of that. And then it's super attractive for content creators to go on YouTube. And yeah. I think because I mean, we also, when it comes to monetizing within news and news media, when it's, you know, whether you go with micropayments or like the subscription models, and we're always like struggling or cannot overcome these kind of edge cases then in the end so far. And this, I'm pretty sure if they figure it out, this can be like for other industries also very interesting to see, and maybe helps to find new solutions there as well.
Right.
And now, this.
Next one is Chris.
This one, yeah. All right. So, yeah, I've brought an article which I thought is quite interesting in regards to the discussions we had last time, actually. That is the AI-generated art, which we know from DALL-E for instance. But so far, we have actually spoken about pieces of art which came out as 2D pieces, as pictures, right? And what we now see here is a new, also to say the next generation of DALL-Es, if you want to put it that way. And that is AI models which are able to generate 3D models, right? So not just pictures, two-dimensional, but really 3D models. And the article tells about like Google Dreamfields, which was at the end of 2021 there. And that is actually combining OpenAPI's Clip with a nerve generator. And in this combination, Dreamfields can create simple nerves just from text description. So more or less, it's the same principle as with DALL-E, but not with, as said, 2D pictures, but with 3D models. And recently, there was a research paper from a university in Canada, Concordia University. And there, the researchers actually have demonstrated the object of this article, which is called Clip Mesh. And that is combining a generative AI model, and that can directly generate 3D mesh models with textures, normal maps and everything, also just from text description. And if you have a look at the videos, you can see that that is already, well, still at the beginning, but nonetheless, therefore quite striking, I'd say. And so if that actually would show like a similar speed as we have seen that with like the 2D systems, right? So if you look where they come from and how they have emerged into their evolution up to DALL-E systems, or the DALL-E system which we have now, if we see the same speed and the same development in these 3D systems, then there might be one area which might be stirred up, so to say, in the job market, which is, of course, the 3D programming and design area, I could imagine. And if you would take that even further, right? So then the next steps would not be just to create 3D models just by prompting some keywords or just by spoken input, but then you would be able to create whole worlds, right? So like not just the three-dimensional models, but really create whole worlds based on that. And then the next area I could imagine would come into the risk of being obsolete, might be the whole adventure and gaming industry, just because of systems like these. And yeah, so this is something I wanted to put into the discussion, so to say, as the next evolutionary step of what we have discussed last time when we were talking about the AI system that has won this art prize there, and which actually was the reason for lots of discussion afterwards.
Yeah, I don't think that that authors of 3D art or 2D art or objects will be obsolete, but they will have this competition of automated generated assets. And I could believe that if you have, for example, a computer game or something like that, and someone is scripting this game and creating this game, then it is from the mind of these creators. This is their intellectual property. but we will now have competing art and competing objects and competing stuff that might be generated on the fly. So you might have a computer game that has elements in there that are not pre-scripted, but that are generated while the user is playing. This is one of these topics that Alex and I keep discussing all the time, and for years, that this is probably one way of future movies or computer games where the content changes based on the input of the audience, for example. And this is something that, of course, can't be done pre-scripted. It's like what was it called in the past? These games, das schwarze Auge, these role-play games where you have to make decisions, go left or go right, and if you go left, continue on page 32 or something, and then you jump there.
Turn-based game.
This was choices, but pre-scripted. And in this case, you might make changes on the fly on this virtual world that you're moving in based on your user input. And because you make some changes, the world changes on the fly because the AI can adapt while you're playing. Really, really cool.
Yeah, but take that even a little step further, right? So if the quality gets better on these, right? So on the one hand, of course, the vision that you have, so the quality of the 3D models and maybe of the created 3D worlds, but also the quality of the story, so to say, which stands behind that. And then that would be like really amazing. So just imagine, I think we have spoken about that once in a tech review. There was this AI which was creating, stories, AI dungeon it was at that time. And now just imagine you have like a 3D art creation system like we are talking about now. You have a powerful story creation system like AI Dungeon. You combine that, and then you could, just by the push of a button, create a whole world, a whole story, a whole game, online game, and could walk actually through that without a game designer ever actually has put their code into that. So that is really a striking idea. And if we take that a little bit further, then we are again at the philosophical discussion, if or if not the whole world, the whole reality just might be a simulation. Because if we have like powerful systems like that in the back, then that might be a possibility.
Always.
It will be really curious to see then what you just described, right? How, for us as a consumer, as a user, how relatable and real it will feel compared to if really like there is some human input that always kind of gives the level of what we know and what we kind of connect with the surrounding, with the storyline in one way or another. Like it's not just like being creative of how it looks like, but if everything really just comes from the push of a button, like we as humans, how will we be like irritated by that because it's so out of what we know and what we kind of could imagine ourselves? Or would that fascinate us? Like the reaction to this will be quite interesting to see.
I could imagine that it will work like with a TikTok algorithm. You have multiple users interacting with this world, and the AI learns from user engagement. And there might be some creative decisions that the AI takes that creates a lot of enjoyment and interaction and engagement by the users, or they just turn around and walk away, like swiping the content away, and then the AI will learn what kind of experiences fits which user, and then it will serve you exactly this kind of engaging content that you want to consume, right?
It's going to be like a rabbit hole logic where we're going to have the majority, the For You page, where everything is, and we see trends and we see stuff that we like, and then, stuff in between. And then we're going to have those sessions where we're going to really double down on a super specific simulation of something that might be not weird, might be super freaking weird. And the AI will understand that we're in this mood or not.
I mean, it could be really crazy. you know these content bubbles that you sometimes slide in a TikTok because you watched one cat video for too long and then you're suddenly bombarded with cat content. I could imagine that while I'm watching videos or I'm moving through like a 3D world, suddenly everything is cats. And it's just cats here and cats there because I spent too much time in the cat bubble, and suddenly my horror movie is filled with cats and my action movie is filled with cats and my World of Warcraft is suddenly filled with cats.
Yeah, but think about like there will be some kind of quality development also, right? So I mean, we are talking about like systems which are still at the beginning. So DALL-E also was at their beginnings at one time, and now see what they can create. And so with these 3 model generators, as said, also at the beginning. So we are not talking about world generators here at the moment. But if you think that idea, or if you take that a little bit further over the next 5, 10, 20 years, then there is at least the potential that these systems could create whole worlds which might not irritate us, as you said, Henrike, maybe not even fascinate us. Maybe they just would seem to us as absolutely normal. And then we are exactly at the point. So then you would be able to create some kind of matrix, if you want to call it that way. And then who can tell that this has not happened before? So to put it the other way around, look out for the glitches.
And now, this.
Next one is Vincent.
You're muted.
No, sorry. Yes. Yeah, so mine is a quick one. It's about Apple raising prices in the European App Store. Interestingly enough, one of the big reasons is that inflation pushed the euro against the dollar, or the other way around. It depends on how we want to look at this. And now they're adapting prices. Effectively from the 5th of October, the App Store prices will rise extensively, by the way. There are examples in the article. So $10.99 will be $11.99, 99 cents will be $1.19, stuff like that. So a lot. And we saw this with the iPhone, we saw this with Apple Watch. All of those devices got more expensive by a lot, by far. And we know these clocks are not turned upside down at any point. So we'll just stick to those prices forever if they don't rise again. And this actually is a question that and the article closes, by the way, with saying that if you want, as a subscription-based app, and I mean, most of them are freemium subscription-based now, a lot of them are, they will not change. So if you have a subscription, I don't know, you're paying $2.99 for, I don't know, AirPlay Hero, like I do, this will stay. And this is a question that because this is not like a big news. I mean, yeah, it is, but okay, whatever. But then I thought, what about subscription models that we have? So why don't we, as a publishing business, push our subscription prices up because of inflation, more risk in resources like paper and stuff like that? There's more to it than just that, I know. Obviously, we want to digital subscriptions in the news business is still something that grows a lot. So we want to attract new people with low prices before we push them up. These business cases we know from all sectors. I mean, look at Netflix, look at Disney. Disney just did it. Look at all these platforms. But then again, on the other hand, your money is getting devalued every day. So maybe this is something that we should also consider just as a preventional measure, because eventually we will need to do this, but then it might be too late.
But
the thing is, I guess, that it's still like a task for publishers to convince people to pay for news. This is still a problem. So if you jump with the prices too high too early, I think the risk of people completely like canceling their subscription is super high.
Especially
I guess
if you
that's the reason. Yeah.
especially if you take into consideration what you also said, that there's like inflation out there and everything. So what you just described, I do not see just only in the Apple store. So this I also see in the supermarket just around the corner. So everything is like rising, maybe just a bit, but all of that. And so that is also another argument which might get into the same direction as Henrike said, so that you have to convince people actually to buy or to pay for news. And this in an environment where everything else is getting more expensive and prices are rising, then you might force them actually to set priorities. And maybe they already set their priorities and said, okay, look, if I pay for my bread, I maybe save the money with my news abo. And if you, on the other hand, say, okay, but then I rise my prices also, then it might be even easier for them to say, okay, then I just go for the bread and not for the other.
True, but then again, the same situation applies to us as a publisher, right? We need to pay salaries, we're buying resources, so this is also an argument that we could also make. And on top of that, what I'm seeing, I think that if this is a trend that continues, and honestly, I don't see that continuing trend stopping very soon, we eventually will need to do it. And I also see the same issue in the Apple Store. I mean, Apple, yes, has a very unique position of being a monopoly with a lot of things they do, and very close shop exclusive. So yes, but I mean, Apple also did it, and I'm pretty sure that people will still buy apps. So what I'm saying is, let's do it now while still the situation is not too critical. Because otherwise, what will happen is when we get into in a more critical financial situation, then we rise prices, then we will lose customers, which then again will give us a much shorter backup before we will be in trouble. So why not just, as a prevention, rise prices, cut losses, and move on? By the way, just like DAZN did.
Yeah, but as said, on the one hand, you're true. So I don't say that we do not have to do it or we should not do that. But of course, the whole thing is a little bit more complex. We do not only have like news abos, and that's all the revenue we have. So there are lots of other sources. And of course, there's also like something like cross subventions or something. So cross financing and everything. But in the end, it's true from our perspective that prices are rising and we have to actually earn more money somehow. But on the other hand, again, look at the market. And this is the parameter that counts, the customer. And you have to have his perspective. So what is important for him? So it might be that Apple might come through with that, because Apple, as you say, is some exclusive thing. And then people might say, okay, then I have a little bit less of bread, just not 2 breads in the morning, just 1. But then I go on paying for my Apple stuff. But you cannot be sure that they would do the same with their news abo, right? And so you, as a provider, where should I try to earn my money? Which is the amount I can put or push actually back to my customer? What is he willing to pay and what not? And in the end, what is my loss and what is my win? So am I really better off if I make like $1 or $2 more with the abo on the one hand, but I lose then a big amount of customers who won't pay anything at all, because then they say, I just pay my bread and the Apple items.
Yeah.
So it's complex.
And I mean, it's also not just about the subscribers, the customers you already have. At the same time, you want to win over new ones. You want to win over a younger audience, like speaking as a publisher now. So will you get them when the prices are too high? What will their priority be besides buying bread? Where will they invest? Will they actually, also in times where news are probably not the most uplifting and motivating, do they really want to, dig deeper into that, or rather spend it for entertainment, apps, games, something that distracts them, all these kinds of stuff? I mean, this is like also quite a big topic to discuss, because it's like the daily struggle we have. But yeah, it's really, to put it simple, it's complex.
Right.
And now, this.
Next one is from me. So we already had some discussion about TikTok, and there is one thing that I personally found very interesting, because TikTok is also adapting another concept that others were doing. You might have heard about BeReal, which is another social media app that is a little bit different in terms of content creation. They do not value like this premeditated, heavily edited content that you create for your viewers, but they set authenticity. So they have this mode where you switch on like your front camera and your back camera, and you post a video or a photo of whatever you're doing right now. For example, you are currently sitting on your balcony eating a sandwich or something, I don't know. And then you see what they see, like the view from your balcony, and on the other camera, they see you with your sandwich. And this is simply authentically you. And this is another way of providing content. And this is what BeReal was doing. That's what their image is doing. It's a niche that was not covered yet. And this is a mode that TikTok is now adapting, where they introduced TikTok Now. I think they brought it out as a separate app for now on the US market. It's not rolled out everywhere, I believe. And they think this might be a very interesting addition to your pre-edited content, where you like create special effects and everything, simply to connect better with your audience. So you as a creator can show whatever you're doing right now, and you have like every 24 hours, I think, one slot or something where you can actually upload something like that for your audience to meet you in your everyday life with your front and back camera, whatever you're doing. And it's very interesting. And this is another thing where I'm kind of sad or I'm afraid that like creative new young apps like BeReal might be quickly eaten up by the big players like TikTok. I could imagine maybe YouTube will bring out something like YouTube Now. I don't know, something with exactly the same thing. And soon everyone will have this front camera, back camera, authentic, show yourself once per day feature. And then like Clubhouse, this one particular use case, which this app was covering, will be part of everybody else. Yeah. But this is at the same time like a nod to this app creator. It's a great concept. We are going to eat it and they will be out of business very soon.
Will it also, like I think at BeReal, it disappears after 24 hours? Is something in the article also said, or will that be different on TikTok Now?
That's a good question. Let's check. So they say you have a 10-second video slot. No, I don't see it right now. But I could imagine that this makes sense, that this is something like a snapshot out of your life, not a video library that you're creating. So it's probably makes sense like stories, that it is something that is that is interesting right now. But you don't have this history of the past 2 years of TikTok Nows.
Yeah, 2 years of you're sitting on your balcony with your sandwich, like every
day.
time.
I mean, could be interesting as well.
Product-wise and feature-wise, I'm totally with you. Probably the big ones will just eat that up. Just these companies with this one feature. So one feature wonders and then they are gone. And this is the usual way, like with Clubhouse. That was the best example for that. On the other hand, the feature as such, to be honest, probably I'm too old for that. So I could not imagine to watch something like that. Who does actually? But yeah, as said, probably I'm too old to understand that. Yeah. So feature-wise, I'm with you. Content-wise, I don't quite understand.
I can't
I think.
Yeah.
Sorry, no.
No,
Go
please
ahead.
go ahead. I already talked.
I just wanted to say that I think that Chris, I think you're right. Feature-wise, it will happen, in my opinion, also in that way. I think it's quite hard to implement a completely new app. So TikTok Now, for example, which is, by the way, available in Germany. I have it if anybody wants to add me. It's a new app that you have to download and use. The same feature also got obviously implemented by Instagram right away a few weeks ago already. And if Instagram finds this valuable for its users, I'm sure that they will also implement like a time code and a specific section of the app for specifically this two-way camera feature. So I think it really depends. I think that, yes, one of the giants will eat it up. The question is which one. And I think it is always, I think in the end, it's always the question of what platform maybe already trained its users to be very close to that feature. And for example, there, I don't see YouTube, I don't see TikTok. I think that Snapchat and Instagram will in the end fight who will be the major player in this feature, because we all are trained to work with pictures, snapshot stories and stuff like that in those apps. I think a very good analogy is the TikTok stories feature that is now available for close to a year as far as I know, and it never really took off the ground because it's just not the way we use TikTok, because TikTok is not the platform we open when we want to show something instantly and share it with the world. But on Snap and Instagram, we're trained for that. So I think that BeReal will be eaten up in the end by our very good friend Mark.
But thanks for sharing. I haven't seen the dual camera feature on Instagram until you said it. I just checked.
You're welcome. You can delete another app from your phone now.
I haven't even installed the other, so I'm good.
Yeah.
I waited long enough.
But I will actually install TikTok now because I thought it was only a US-based feature, and I'm going to try it. I'm a little bit worried because the app only has 2 stars on the store. And I'm wondering.
Is it really?
Yeah, it seems to be very unpopular. Okay, it's just 10 votes, so not representative. But let's see.
But this means that you and I could actually. Yeah, actually, you and I, we could really influence the way it's perceived in Germany, yeah, in the German App Store, yes.
Yeah. And in Peru.
But...
Right, but you just said something interesting. TikTok is an entertainment platform, so I really enjoy high-quality TikToks or entertaining TikToks while swiping through that. So I'm not really interested in authentic social media connections of my friends. That's not what I'm watching for on TikTok. So it might actually be that it might not be compatible, like stories. Yeah, so maybe.
And now this.
And we have one more from Chris.
Yeah, just a short one actually. So, but I found it was quite interesting. So it is about monitoring of home office workers in the US. And to be honest, I was a little bit shocked when I read that, saying that 80% of the largest US corporations monitor their employees in real time, right? Like with measures like mouse tracking, programs that take pictures of the employees in random times, like with the integrated camera, software that accesses the laptop and snaps the employees, software that checks how much time they spend with Zoom, Word, Excel, and so on. And even supervisors sometimes read emails and listen to work cell phones and so on. And the whole thing is totally legal, right? So I was really flashed when I read that. And it seems also a little bit paradoxical because, I mean, when actually the whole home office thing came up, it was also a little bit like a promise of freedom. And now it's actually being taken into the opposite, right? Now people are being watched and spied out in their homes. And this seems to me a little bit like a dystopia. And as I said, I was a little bit shocked when I read that. So if that is home office, then I would not want that.
But are you sure that this is legal?
I mean, this is a big newspaper which was writing all of that, and it said it's totally legal. It's American laws are actually quite open there and give a lot of legitimacy. There.
We need this button, Teig.
Legitimacy.
We need it.
Yeah, we need this button, absolutely. Here we go again, yeah. Yeah, but it seems to be legal. So I was also astonished about that. But yeah, it seems to be, and as far as I got it, it is legal.
I don't understand. A few years ago, we had the NSA leaks. It was NSA, right? I'm not mistaken with the short thing. Yeah, we had the NSA leaks where people were listening into phone calls for national security threats, and this was blown up to the roof. We had a big thing. There was like one of the biggest dramas ever in the U.S. Politics, U.S. society, and if this is true, and we are so much beyond that. I mean, I'm just thinking, what if you open your work laptop? This is a very edge case, but I mean, I'm sure we all landed in this spot once. We open up the work laptop, but maybe you don't work. Or maybe you want to work, but you came out of the shower, but you want to listen in on a call or whatever. I don't know, whatever. I honestly don't know. But there are so many factors where I think this is a breach of privacy, that NSA against this is a joke.
Yeah, but there's a difference.
It's crazy.
There's a difference, right? So NSA actually was spying on private people, so to say. But here we are talking about the employer who is listening and watching into his own
time. Yeah, sure.
Material, right? So it's in the end, it's the employer's laptop which you actually are working on. It's the employer's smartphone. So and he's paying you. I would not say that you belong to him, but in a way he might see it that way. And so therefore he is looking if his money is well invested or not. And as I said, in America, this is not a German thing, not a European thing.
I do not know how they do that in America, but I mean, maybe that's different there. But if you look into our cases, like our work laptops can be used for private use as well. Like, where do you distinguish whether or not this is now a private moment or this is now a business professional moment? Because you can use your laptop for both. So this, I mean, maybe it's different there, but if that applies as well, this is really, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, but maybe it's not like that there in the US. So here, this is a question of philosophy and how you actually deal with your employees, and this is a commitment which you have. Maybe it's different there, but yeah. So it just shocked me also in that way, because when I'm thinking about all the discussions that I sometimes had with Workers' Council, when we, for instance, rolled out products like communication products within the company, and everything has to be safe and it has to be made sure that nobody can be tracked and spied on and everything. So this is really a regulation, a requirement from their side saying this should not be possible under all circumstances. And now in America we see exactly the opposite, and so that was difficult to grab for me.
Yeah, I think this is really an extreme example. I mean, there are always these gray zone areas where, for example, you have your emails in the cloud and the employer needs to access your email account because they are crucial client communications, and while you are sick or something like that, then this might be critical for the company to access these emails while they are in the cloud. But accessing your laptop camera while you are at home, and this in a completely legal sense, this is a absolutely breach of privacy. And of course, I understand this argument, it's your work laptop, so taking this into your bedroom means like taking your colleagues into your bedroom, and so it's your own fault by having like your work laptop open while you're in the shower. But still, I can't see this as something that might be legitimate in the long term, simply because it's not feasible. It might be some kind of pressuring your employees to go back to the office. Like, if you do work stuff, do it at the office. And so as long as you have your workspace at the office, we are not invading your privacy. And if you take work equipment into your bedroom, then it's your own fault. Yeah. So it might be a strategy of discouragement. But I can't imagine that in the long run this will stay legal, if this is legal right now. We have this example with our office, where they introduced this facial recognition as entry system, where you can enter the office by showing your face and the door opens. But even this is already like fought against because of privacy concerns and data protection. And this is at the office. So you are physically in the building of your employer. And even this is already fought against in terms of privacy restrictions, right? And so it's like really a horror movie imagination to have, in a legal sense, that if you take your phone to your home. So this means the same thing. I have my work smartphone here, and this would be legal to open up the microphone and listen to me while I'm sleeping or I'm watching TV or something like that, because it's a work phone. I have this from my employer, and so they could legally install spyware and simply activate the camera and the microphone.
Yeah, but you know how it is, like, especially with data privacy, right? So everybody is laughing about German data privacy, especially in the US. So I could imagine that things are a little bit different there than they are here.
Yeah, but this is not a little bit.
Yeah, of course not. Yeah, so this was a little bit sarcastical, but I could imagine that things are like that over the sea or overseas. So so data privacy is, I think, a special German, or at least a European thing, definitely not an American thing as we have it here.
Yeah, that's extreme. Okay, that's the last article for today, and we are already over time. Thank you so much for your contributions. I'm looking forward to Tech Review episode 34, then again, right on time. And so have a wonderful weekend, since it's already Friday, and have a great weekend. Bye.
You too.